Let's roll. Now I'm on.
Yep.
Okay, Lori, we do roll call.
I can do
Matt
roll call.
Johnson, supervisor.
Here.
Dave Leroy, councilman.
Here.
John Ross, councilman.
Present.
John Fox, councilman.
Present.
Chris Turtinick, councilman.
Present.
Okay.
All righty. Everybody looked at the supervisor's report. Exciting.
Yes.
Could we get a motion to accept that report? Maybe.
I move to accept that report, Chris Turtnick.
Thanks, Chris.
John Fox, second.
Thanks, John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, next is the town clerk's report. A motion to accept that.
Also move, Don
I'll make
Ross.
that motion.
Thanks, Don.
I'll second.
Thanks, John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next is the tax collection report.
I'll make that motion, David.
Thanks, Dave. Second.
I'll second
Don
it,
Ross,
Chris.
second.
Thanks, Chris. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We need a motion to pass the resolution to approve the bills.
I'll make that motion. This is Don.
Don was the second on that, I heard.
I'll second it, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, carried. We have no scheduled speakers. So we'll go to Councilman Ross and Public Safety.
Okay. We have just a minimal stuff going on, actually, due to I think mostly due to people staying home. So if you noticed, if you looked at the report I sent, there's calls are way down for all companies. And I know, for instance, at ours, and I'm sure the others, we're not at the hall doing much of anything. We're trying to stay separated as best we can. The only outside activity I've had actually is the water authority, and there again, that was via Zoom. So we haven't met in person, and I assume maybe next month we will. I'm not sure, or maybe later this month. Depends on how I guess what the governor says and how the county rolls. There is one thing though, and it pertains to the Girl Scout camp. And if you don't mind, I'd like to mention this now.
Sure.
Okay, it's in the mail, in the fire company mail. I received a letter, and it was also included a donation to the fire company, and I'd like to read it. Take me about maybe 30 seconds. Dear volunteer firefighters, thank you for being such a vital part of your community. I worked at Camp Beechwood 1993 through 1995 and left a good chunk of my heart there when the camp closed. It's such a special place, a safe place that holds so many memories. I'm sure some of you know Stubby White, excuse me for butchering this name, but Weisgatz, maybe? The caretaker.
Oh,
Wegarts, okay. He worked so hard to keep camp clean and beautiful and safe. The recent pictures I've seen of the structure, fires on the property are heartbreaking, but they're only buildings. The true spirit of the camp continues to show through in your service, preventing the fire from damaging more property. My heartfelt thanks to each one of you for answering the call in the middle of the night. Sincerely, Meredith Bray, AKA Sammy. And I apologize, I don't know who either of these people are, but maybe some of you do. But I thought that was worth passing on.
Okay, I'm not sure Meredith is either. But I knew Mr. Weigart. His daughter was in a grade behind me in high school. And he lived where Sal does now. And he was a caretaker there for many, many years. So,
Well,
that's very nice.
it just shows where,
Very
you know,
nice.
where people's heads are at, you know, because although I've been in favor of closing that camp down during some of these bad times until we get a handle on that, you know, I think that ultimately there's also some good that comes out of it. So,
Yeah, I was down there last weekend and we had 2 nice days. And I mean, we're talking a lot of people went through there, and I will not let a few people win. You know, I mean, that might be their goal to get it closed down. We had to close it down for investigation, but we didn't want to close it down. We don't want to close it down. We want to keep working on it, and we're going to continue to do that. A few bad people are not going to stop that. I did talk to Investigator Kent today. Well, I can't say too much. We're making really good progress on the arson investigation.
good. I hope.
Okay, thanks for that letter, Don. If you drop that off sometime, I'd love to send her a reply. I thought that was a very nice letter.
Sure.
Thanks. Okay, David, Public Works.
Yeah, just one comment and then I'll hand it over to
Sure.
Dale. We had the environmental survey of Green Street and Rotterdam, which is the town property. That was done last Friday, May 8th. We're waiting for the results of that survey from Labella. I would imagine we'll probably get that in a week or so. So that piece is done, and we'll see where it goes. Dale, you got anything you want to bring up?
No. I guess we did an environmental study yesterday of the facility at the 84 Rotterdam. And that's kind of basically just to find out where all the drains and all the functions that the building needs to survive, if there's any problems with it and everything. She was quite thorough in that. Today they did a topographical survey of all the elevations in a couple acres down there, and they were quite intense. I'm kind of impressed because we just go from one event to the next, and they don't seem to let the ball drop. Labella seems like they're handling it quite well. Other than that, we're just doing functions as normal. Anybody got any questions?
No, I just want to thank Dale for going with me, answering a couple of calls from citizens that had a couple of questions and a couple of needs, and we get right on it, and people are very appreciative of that. And I want to thank him and the highway department for kind of making me look good, because they take care of people really quick, and that helps.
Well, we try to handle it as we can. Sometimes we have to put them off a couple weeks, but we try to work them in the best we can. We've got some stuff that has been on the back burner, and we're going to try to work on some of that next week.
Yep.
But a lot of it's weather related and people related. I got a couple guys out this week, and that shortens us up a little bit, but we're going to manage.
Okay. All
One of
right.
my, I'll just take a second, Scott. One of my biggest problems I have is the CHIPS funding that we get from New York State to oil and stone, blacktop, where have you. They also will pay for some piping and stuff like that. And we're going to have to probably be really conservative on how we spend it unless something happens, because when the governor passed the budget, the Assembly and the State Senate passed the budget back in the first week of April. They passed it for the highway and they passed it for the schools, but they left a little clause down in there that if their anticipated income coming into the state is less than normal, that they can retrieve them funds that they were going to offer us. And I don't want to overspend this year with us. We have to buy a new fleet of trucks and a building and everything. So we're just going to have to play it by ear according to what they give us. And we haven't got any information from the state about actual money that we're supposed to receive, because I think some of the people aren't even working. But I'll keep you guys advised on that, and we'll just be careful with the spending and try to take care of it so we're not over Because normally what happens is, some people don't know, is the CHIPS reimburses us. We put the money up front. And then usually around the first week of November, we apply for a refund, and within a month or so, we usually receive it. But there's a possibility, I mean, everybody knows with the problems that are in New York State that their funding might change. So that's about all I got right now.
Okay, yeah, it'll be dependent on how much money comes down from the federal level. I'm sure everybody heard the $3 trillion proposal today. So I'm sure that's got state and local funding in it, but I haven't seen it yet. It's only 1,800 pages. I'll read it tomorrow.
Dale,
Yes, sir.
can you just give a brief update, not so much for us here, but if it goes out on in the paper, on the construction on 104 and on Ridge Road?
Sure, I can. If anybody travels, I'll start with Sodus Center Road. Last week, the county did a bridge inspection just off of Route 88, and they had a bridge that needed some repair quick. They were doing maintenance, wash the salt off the bridge and stuff like that, and they see it was dangerous. So we helped them put a couple steel traffic plates on the bridge so the cars could travel over the weekend. And that was last Thursday. And Monday this morning, they had to dig it up, and it probably might be into the first of next week that it'll be open. It's going to be a short thing, turnaround. I don't expect it's going to last 2 weeks. I just say maybe one. Route 104, the state currently is milling out the bad spots from Rotterdam Road all the way down to 104A in Red Creek. They're going to touch them up, and then they're going to do what they call a micro paving, where they take a gregget and they have a special oil, and it kind of wipes a thin coat and seals the road back up for wintertime. That's going to be that section they're working on right now. When they get done with that, they're supposed to go from Rotterdam, I believe, up to maybe Ontario area, I believe. And I believe that's going to be what they call a fill-in mill. I believe they're going to mill the road out like they did Route 88 last year, because it's in considerably worse shape. The county closed the bridge between Geneva Road and Barclay Road on Ridge Road Monday. And that's been scheduled. They've been working on the engineers for that for a couple of years now. And that's probably going to be closed until mid-October. They've got a great company, CP Ward's in there. They're the contractor that got the bid, and they have a huge fleet of equipment. They really do a good job on stuff, but it's a major bridge. The walls in it are quite high, and they got to deal with the stream underneath and everything. So it's going to be May 11th. They closed it. It's going to be going to, like I say, mid-October.
Thanks, Dale.
Yep.
All righty, thanks. Okay, can I get a motion to accept Dale's report?
I'm Fox. I'll make that
Yeah,
motion.
Thanks,
I'll
John.
second it, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. On to buildings and grounds, Councilman Turknick.
Okay, the first is the dog control officer's report. He had 3 calls. One was a pit bull in somebody else's yard, and a warning was given to the owner of the pit bull. Another one was a follow-up on 10-day-old dog bite, and the owner is going to have the dog euthanized because the owner doesn't feel the dog is safe. And the third one were 2 dogs, both of them were running at large, and it was just a warning giving. Okay, that is the dog control officer's report.
Okay, can I get a motion to accept that report, please?
I'll make that motion, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Second.
John Fox, second.
Thanks, John. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay,
Opposed?
next is next is the building inspection report from Greg Schwartz. He had 2 houses condemned this last month. He wrote 6 letters, 6 of which were for property maintenance. he did 2 inspections. 13 permits were issued for total fees of $900 that he collected. Okay, and that's the building inspection report.
Okay, yeah, Craig's been really getting after it. He had, like Dale, we get a call from someone in the community and we act on it as fast as we can. And again, it's really good. I think people really appreciate that. The only one that's really a thorn in our side is the Ridge Road, Kelly Road corner. And again, we have to wait for the courts to open to pursue that matter. We've been doing what we can, but once the court closed, that slowed that down. So Craig's been doing a great job. Can I get a motion to accept?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
He really appears to be on top of things.
Oh, yeah, he can go get it. Can I get a motion to accept his code enforcement report?
I'll make
Make
that
that.
motion, Chris.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Second?
Yep. Don,
Okay, thanks, Don. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed?
Okay.
All right, good.
Then the next thing I got is the Lake Ontario flooding report. That is kind of interesting. It's a lot better than I expected this time of year. But there's not enough data yet, but it appears that the lake has peaked and it's starting to go down. Another week will probably tell us. On the 6th of May is when the last time I had the information when I wrote this report. It appeared that's what it's doing. We'll just keep our fingers crossed. And since January, only 37 days out of the 126 days, the outflow was greater than the net supply to the lake. And of course, that had made the lake rise. On May 6th, we were at 247.3 feet above sea level per the Army Corps of Engineers readings with their stations. And it's within half of an inch of what I've been tracking. I track Oswego and the Rochester buoy, and the average of 2 of them. I figure that's where we lie, someplace in between there. And so we're within a half an inch of each other. So it's pretty close. Since we're at 247.34 at the 6th anyway, the upper limit of the 58 DD was 247.3. So we're really at the upper limit of the previous plan, which was the 58 DD. Also interesting enough that that level is also the level where we start flooding in Wayne County. And so we're right at the flood level. If it goes any higher, we'll be flooding, and anything lower than that, of course, will be good. Okay. Since the beginning of the year, the IJC and the Lake Ontario St. Lawrence River Board have been sort of off and on as far as the triggers are concerned. And triggers, they have every week, there's a different trigger for the lake level. And they say when it goes above the trigger, they can take extraordinary action. But most of the time in a past year, we've been above the trigger and didn't seem to be any extraordinary action. But nevertheless, no, I don't know all the things they have to deal with. But right now, we're staying pretty well below the trigger, which is a good sign. And I hope they're going to keep it that way. Okay. Now, they also have to, with the water they let out, they also have to consider the upstream and downstream conditions, so nobody gets hurt abnormally. I can't judge what's happening downstream. I just don't know enough about downstream of the dam. Last Friday, I attended a second webinar that IJC put on. And it was basically all the Great Lakes, not just Lake Ontario. And one of the things that they said is the rain was actually quite moderate this year, and therefore we don't have the issue we have had like last year. Also, we don't have the snowpack on the Ottawa River Basin, so that helped. So that keeps the level down, and hopefully, we have crested. One thing that came out very clear to me anyway is how many times it was mentioned by the chairman, U.S. chairman of the commission, the state commissioner on the U.S. side, and Jane Corwin is the chairman for the U.S. side. Number of times she mentioned the interest of shipping. So it clearly told me that shipping is the biggest interest they're concerned about. So, everybody else, they're concerned about other people, but the major factor is shipping. Okay, and that's as far as the level is concerned. The only other thing I got to mention, tomorrow I'll be attending a WebEx webinar put on by the Department of State, and it's on land use moratoria. And that's about all I have to say.
Okay, great. Yeah, I've been on a couple of webinars and they've talked about how it's remained under control, I guess, compared to what they had thought so far. But proof will be in the pudding, we'll see, but so far so good. For what we really thought was going to happen. So, okay, great. Thanks, Chris. That one's not Councilman Fawkes, Recreation and Environmental.
Okay, and let me see. Recreation report. Sorry, I just need to scroll up here. Thank you, Sheila, for being here tonight. Let me know if I misspeak or anything. I'm just going to kind of read this verbatim and let me know how it goes.
Okay.
With the news of the schools closing for the remainder of the year, Sodus Rec has had to start thinking outside of the box. And after much discussion with some of our seasoned staff, we've decided that canceling the summer program is not an option. And I think that's great. We're going to forge ahead and plan for a virtual summer of fun. We will be planning many online classes for kids age 4 through 12, including arts and crafts, cooking, dance, outdoor fun, talent show, and much more. So apparently, and I think we'll probably come up with ideas as the technology bears out what can or cannot work well. We will be meeting once a week to begin planning for a 6-week program beginning on July 6th of 2020. Staff will be planned and their programs will be starting immediately. I will be creating an entire new registration form, which will include payment information. There will be a cost for at least the arts and crafts programming. We do not believe it will be necessary to charge for insurance. And Scott will investigate this for us. I know we had a Zoom meeting last week and we discussed some of this stuff, so it's in the works. We will continue to stay open to other towns as well for this program. And then the budget report, we will only be paying a very limited number of staff members this summer. Therefore, our summer payroll should be significantly less than in past years. However, it's our understanding that funds remaining will be rolled into next year's payroll budget. We will start to pay our 2020 summer staff for planning hours as soon as we go through the next 2 months. With this being an entirely new program, there will be lots of planning going on into this for myself and the other staff. So that is what Sheila has submitted. Any questions?
Yeah,
Well,
I have a question about the money that's not spent this year rolled over into next year. Is that addition to the regular budget or the regular amount they would get? Because I'm a firm believer of zero budgeting. You start at zero, and you if you accumulate some or have some left over from previous year, I personally don't think that should be on top of the additional money. I happen to believe in zero budgeting. Yeah.
I got you, Chris. A lot of that'll have to do with what we have too. We may be making some cuts next year, depending on what we get. And in funding, sales tax is supposedly going to be down. Everything coming in is down. So we'll deal with that next year. I know what you're saying. If we carry over 30,000, would that be added to next year's budget? No, probably not. There may be an increase in the program, though. I'm not going to rule that out.
I would
Amy,
just chime in that I think, and Chris, I do kind of agree with that. However, I think we're in some extraordinary times now. And, I think if we just keep the conversation open about what's obviously a huge anomaly from normal, we should be able to reach something that's relatively acceptable for everybody. But, some of these hard and fast rules that we've used for years and years and years just really don't apply, and we really need to have an open mind.
Well, if we need the money, no question, let's spend the money if we need it. Okay, but I just don't want to have it automatically be more money. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yep.
Amy, I don't know if this is a question for now, but I need to talk to you about that insurance issue, that if we're doing a virtual program, do we need to carry insurance for the rec program? Seeing they're going to be at home and not on school
Right.
grounds, or might have some kind of insurance for it.
It's a really good question.
Yeah.
I will take a look at the issue.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that we always needed insurance when they're on school grounds with us, but
Right.
if we're, is there any liability for us if they're doing things at home? I wasn't sure how that would work. I mean, we have an umbrella insurance anyway. Would it be safer just to have that so that we're covered? I don't
Do you
know.
know if maybe we should talk offline, but is it
Sure.
like premises liability, or
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Is it what?
is it like premises liability, or like what type of insurance is it? You know what? We can talk off. I can talk to you
Okay.
offline.
Okay, no
Yeah.
problem.
Figure it out. I'll figure it out. Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay. Sheila, you got anything you want to add? Oh, one more thing. I was on a call the other day, and it'll open the door for you if you can pull this off, because Walworth and Ontario have canceled their programs completely. So you might want
Yeah.
to send something that way to help those kids out if we get
Okay.
this going.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot of the surrounding areas are canceling altogether. So we are the only county, Wayne County, that I've heard that is even trying to salvage any type of rec program for our kids. And I have been in contact with Nelson, and we're just waiting to hear what their summer program is going to look like as far as what they're doing with summer school. Obviously, we want to work with them, not against them, so that, we don't want to compete with summer school, if you will. So we would work with their schedule. And once we know what they're going to do, then we'll go ahead and plan our schedule. But I think that, we're just giving kids an option, and we want to keep our name out there and show that we're going to still do a program for the summer and give kids something to do. It's better than nothing, and it's more than what any other town is doing. So it'll be a lot of work. It's basically creating a whole new program than what we've been doing, but I think it'll be worth it in the end. And it's gonna, like we talked about, it's gonna put Sodus on the map for doing something that isn't being done.
Yep. No, hey, you can't be afraid to fail if you're going to succeed. So give it a shot. Kids need something.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, Sheila. Can I get a motion to accept her report, please?
I'll make that motion, Chris.
Chris, second.
I'll second Dave.
Thanks, Dave. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed?
Thank you, everyone.
All right. We'll see you, Sheila.
Thank you.
Good night.
Okay.
Good night.
The assessor report.
Assessor's report, I have right in front of me, dated May 4th. Around the office, the tentative assessment roll has been turned into Wayne County. Based on the data from New York State, our level of assessment will be 96 on the 2020 roll. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that means. I tried to contact Nate prior to the meeting to find out exactly what that number means. And whether it's
He spoke to me a little bit about it before. It's a percentile the state likes you to come in at in between some numbers to make sure your property is fair valued. If you come in too low, your values aren't fair enough, and if you come in too high, so he's doing a great job with that. He's staying within their means.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it
sounds
I
like
can
a-
say, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Good,
Um,
Amy.
Basically, if your assessed value of your house is 100,000, say, it means that your assessment for tax purposes would be 96,000.
Okay.
If it's
Gotcha.
at 96%,
So-
getting 96%, you're being taxed on 96% instead of 100% value. Hopefully I did my math
Got it.
right, but you see what I mean.
Yep, I understand. And that makes perfect sense. I've heard that terminology before. I just hadn't seen it spelled out this way. So I guess that's great news. We'll continue on with the report. Change of assessment notices have been mailed out to Sodus taxpayers. Legal notices concerning the completion of the tentative assessment roll and notice regarding the Board of Assessment Review was posted in the paper and on the town website. The assessor will be in attendance with the tentative roll by phone on, let's see, he was on Friday, May 8th and 9th. He was yesterday from 4 to 8 and was today from 9:30 to 1:30 p.m. And grievance day has been scheduled for Tuesday, May 26th from 2 to 4 and from 6 to 8 p.m. Due to COVID-19, all hearings will be done by phone conference this year. And that is the assessor's report.
Okay, thanks, John. Could I get a motion to accept that report, please? Maybe.
Dave, I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'll make the motion. Okay, I'll second it in that case.
So everybody. Thanks, Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, Beechwood. John, you're up.
Okay, so Sal's here. He submitted this report. Feel free to correct me, Sal, if I miss anything here, because it's been busy at the camp. April was challenging here at Beechwood. Ongoing quarantine still in place. We've had a huge increase in park goers. And while most of the people there have been fine, there has been an increase in vandalism, especially at the beginning of the month. Our trail camera system that we've put into place has been helping us catch some people and alerting Sal to folks who are in the park when they should not have been during the closure. So that came in pretty handy. The people who have been committing the vandalism have, for the most part, been out-of-towners with a few local teenagers in the mix. So part of the problem we have is people are coming in from out of town to trash our park. And that's something I think we really need to try to address, maybe with the other towns. Most of the incidents have been concentrated in the pool area and the Pioneer Lodge. Alleviating the vandalism problem at the pool, Sal has started to clean out the brush and debris that surrounded it and has done a great job. Now we have a clear view in and out of the pool area. You can't really go in there without people being able to see that you're down there. And I thought it was genius that he took most of the thorny bushes and threw them into the pool, so that if you want to get into the pool, you've got to deal with thorns and bushes. So fantastic idea. With the onset of the nice weather, mowing has begun in the park. The town has approved an extra 20 hours per week for Sal to use to patrol and work in the park. And he has set those hours from 1 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, which is the time window that most of the acts of vandalism have been occurring. So that's good. Since the start of the new patrolling hours, Sal has reported that we've only had one small incident of vandalism, and that was caught right away. The new trail cam system is in place, and it has been much easier to keep an eye on most of the areas of the park. The May 3rd incident is in the report here. At 4 a.m., of course, we had another fire. Let's see. The building was on fire. This was the old infirmary building, located about 3/4 of the way down in the main trail. headed towards the bluff on the east side. We did get cameras, camera pictures of the perpetrators, and they had been in the park for quite a while, drinking, smoking in front of one of our other cameras up on the bluff. And then they went and set the fire. We have photos of the fire in the background, as a matter of fact. I haven't actually seen those photos, but apparently we did a good job with the cameras. The case is being investigated by the state police. Perpetrators also left multiple pieces of physical evidence, and we think they've been positively identified. Just waiting for the state police to do their thing on that. And I will add to this that we have purchased 3 small wireless cameras. They're self-powered, that we can put inside of structures, so that when vandals are inside doing something, we will be able to get photos of the inside of these structures as opposed to just outside, which will help us prove who's been doing what where. They operate about 40 hours per charge. I dropped them off to Sal yesterday, and hopefully we'll have them up and running pretty soon.
Okay, so you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I got a couple things I'd like to add. First and foremost, I'd like to thank. Are you there?
Go ahead, Sal.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, yeah, first and foremost, I'd like to thank Meredith Bray as well for that great letter that she sent over to Councilman Ross. It's just proof positive of how many people actually care about what goes on here at Beechwood. So I'd really like to thank her to begin with. We also had a couple meetings of the Beechwood committee. We were able to see an old assessment of the park and an old management plan, which will give us a good blueprint moving forward for the things that we need done in the park. Right now, we're going through the whole entire park, and we're trying to prioritize what could be done to make an immediate positive impact with the smallest amount of funds needed. Also, we've had an outpouring of people looking to volunteer to help us out down at the park, so that's a great thing. On Thursday or Friday of last week, I did meet with Marcus Reel from the New York State Park Service. We went for a walk in the park, and he told me that they're really limited on what they could do to help us out right now because of manpower with the whole Corona thing. But he said he's willing to point us in the right direction for anything down there. And he actually told me there's a thing called the Natural Heritage Fund, which may be something we could use to fund the park directly without having to go through the town, where people can make donations directly to the park through the Natural Heritage Fund. So that's something we're definitely going to be looking into. Yeah, John went over, since we did get the cameras in place and the more patrols going on, you know, there's been a definite decrease in the amount of vandalism. We've really been on top of things out here. So that's a great step in the positive direction, you know? So, yeah, I think that's about it. We got a lot of positive things going on here, and the Beechwood Committee is going to keep working hard, and we're going to get to the bottom of all these problems out here, you know?
Okay.
And,
This is
yeah,
Kim. Can I be heard?
Did you have some?
Sure,
Sure, Kim, go ahead.
Yep, we can hear you.
Hello. I don't know if anybody can hear me or not.
Hello.
This is Kim. I'm actually in the park right now. And
yeah, we
I
can
did
hear you.
a phone
Can
in.
hear you, Kim.
My computer will not work with Zoom. So, you know, we did, you know, Sal and David and I did meet and walk to some of the park and talked about some of the buildings, whether or not they were salvageable, the things that need to be removed, you know, not even, you know, thinking about what is this going to cost, how can it be done. I didn't realize Marcus Reel until the other day that he was still involved in the process. I spoke with him a number of years ago. I would have contacted him prior to this if I knew he was still involved, but I figured they had passed that on to somebody else. You know, as Al said, we're making progress. There's a lot to do and there's a lot to be done. Lots of people have volunteered. That's an issue we're going to have to deal with, and understanding how we can move forward with volunteers, given potential liability issues and things like that. So I think we're making forward progress. It's just going to take some time to figure things out here. I know, I think we're going to meet again sometime. We haven't really decided on the time yet. But I know that John was not able to make it, and it would be great to have all four of us here. And, we're going to make slow progress, but we'll get there. It's a great place. People are utilizing it. Scott, I'm glad that you have pretty much been insistent on keeping it open, because I think it's been a great place for people to come and unwind. I think that's a very valuable thing, and I think a lot of people really appreciate that, being able to come here. Every time I see somebody I've never seen before, I ask them how frequently they come. And for many people, this is our first time. This is an incredible place. So people are excited about being able to come here and being able to come back. So it's going to be a process. So thanks for letting me put something out there.
Okay, thanks, Kim. Yeah, we've had many people ask and volunteer, and I've had many people ask to donate money and things, but I've kind of pushed that back a little bit, because I want to, now that we have the Heritage Foundation, a place for it to go, and I wanted to get the vandalism and the other issues under control first, and then we're going to go full bore and seeing what we can rebuild and what we can't do and everything. But liability, all those issues come into play when you have volunteers and everything. So we will move forward with this. There's many people that are into it now. We've had plenty of publicity, good, bad, and indifferent, but that has brought quite a few people out to stroll the park. Not all bad. Again, it's only been very few bad eggs. There were a lot of people out there Saturday night. So,
yeah,
okay.
Very small percentage of people are creating problems.
Very small.
Yeah, and I think that the opportunity with the Heritage Fund is great, because I did talk to a friend who used to be Director of Parks and Recreation for the town of Penfield about the nonprofit that they had attempted to put into place, and he said it just got so ground in politics that they eventually abandoned that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
The Heritage Fund opens up some opportunities, that I was unaware of that particular program, so that I think opens up a lot of opportunities, because you can't make a donation directly to the town because it has to go in the general fund. You have to have something for it to go through, so that will help a lot. It opens up quite a few opportunities for us. So thanks again.
Okay. You're welcome. Sal, could you get the particulars from Mark from the state there on the Heritage Foundation and the information you could get from him on it, so that we can start to move that forward? Sal? Okay. All right.
I spoke with Sal about that the day that we met, and since I interacted with Marcus Reel before, even though Sal has most recently with him, I had offered to contact him and get more specific information on that.
Oh.
I did look into the past nonprofit that had been formed, and that has not had any activity in it in over 12 years. The attorney who did that now lives in Florida. Even though the firm should still have information on that, it's not likely that is an avenue we would be able to pursue.
You'd have to start that.
So the Heritage really, we would have to start that process over again, exactly.
After that.
And I think the Heritage Fund opens up some opportunities. It's a matter of finding out exactly how that works.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Thanks. If you'll look into that, I appreciate it. Okay. Can I get a motion to accept the sales report?
I'll make that motion. This is Donnie.
Thanks, Don. Second.
I'll second it, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Correspondence and information. Need a motion to adopt resolution, the town's consultant on the highway barn, Lobella Associates, PC, together with the town supervisor, town highway superintendent, and town attorney shall prepare a request for proposal for the work, and Lobella shall submit such request to local demolition service providers, making clear that qualifications must be provided with the quotations. Prevailing wage requirements must be met, and that the town will comply with its best value pricing law, and that proposals for the work shall be received no later than May 20th, 2020. So this is a motion to put out for bid the peeling of the roof back over the 3 trucks that are still in there. Well, there's 5 still in there, but that are under the roof that we'd like to try to see if we can get some salvage out of. It's a great first start because it's a long time coming, and I want to get moving on this. So that's what this motion is about, just that part of peeling off that roof. Then once that is done, we'll get those trucks out of there, and hopefully we can move forward with a more comprehensive cleanup proposal. So anybody got any questions, comments to that? Everybody understand it?
Yep.
Okay, can I get a motion to adopt it, please?
This is Dave. I'll make that motion, Scott.
Thanks, Dave. You get a second?
John Fox, a second.
Okay, thanks, John. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed? Okay, carried. Thank you. It's just, it's been a long process. I mean, December 21st, the fire started, and we're finally getting to move forward with the cleanup. The investigation continues, but as far as we're concerned, we get to move forward. Number 2, motion authorizing the Highway Superintendent Dale Pickering to purchase 3 new and unused 2021 International HX 520 10-wheeler trucks from International at 399 Albany Shaker Road in Loudonville, New York, 12211, purchased under Onondaga County bid reference number 8996. The trucks will be equipped with Viking size stainless plow and wing, Bow Rock stainless dump box with tarp, and necessary emergency lighting, etc. The current net sales price is $210,924, $210,924.55 per each equipped truck. These 3 are to replace the 3 that were covered under replacement value, the 2011, 2014, and 2016. So when we're done, this should have no net effect to our budget. Still have a little battle with the insurance. We put our proposal in, and haven't heard completely back from the insurance company, but these are covered under replacement value. So
Full replacement, there, right, Scott?
yeah,
Full
full
replacement?
replacement value.
Yeah. I'll make that motion.
Okay, thanks, Dave. You get a second?
Second.
I'll second that, Chris.
Okay, thanks, Don. Thanks, Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's carried. That takes care of our agenda. I always like to ask if anyone else would have anything they'd like to add from the public or the paper or anywhere, any questions or anything, because I want to be open and listen. So are there any questions or comments? All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion. This is Don.
Thanks, John. Second,
John Fox, a second.
somebody wants to leave.
I guess so.
Thanks, John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thanks, folks. We'll see you before that, on the 26th of our next scheduled meeting at 5 o'clock. Okay,
Is there a, I can
Adjourned.
actually
all right, we'll see you.